Hi everybody. My name is Jerry Wise, and I'm a life and relationship coach. And I've been helping people for probably 45 years now to help them become more self-differentiated and to work on their recovery and healing. And what I'd like you to do is, if you could, join this YouTube channel for this video. Also click the bell so you get notified when new videos go up. And there's an inexpensive membership that you can join on this channel. I think it's about $2 a month to help support the channel, because these videos that I provide are free. They take lots of time and energy to produce. But I wanted to give you a chance to be a part of the work that I would like to teach and publish out there to those who are in need and in need of healing. This particular video is entitled How to Resist the Role of Scapegoat, or How to Resist as a Scapegoat. Let me first define what it means to be a scapegoat, or what is a scapegoat role. A scapegoat is a family role embraced by the family, absorbed by the scapegoat, and it is there, that important dynamic is there to express, to deny, and to drain off the family's pain or dysfunction. So a scapegoat role is to express that pain through this indirect means. To you, as out of denial, we set up a scapegoat in the family, and this is all unconscious for the most part. And then we drain off the family pain from the problems or severe difficulties to the scapegoat. And the scapegoat is the distraction, the family, and what others need from the real root problems. The family can't talk about the real problems, the real difficulties, so they can talk about their scapegoated child. And this they'll talk with other family members, other friends, etc. Then everybody's focused on the scapegoat, and their eyes are not focused on the real problems. Much like you would have for a magician who has a sleight of hand. He'll have you look over here while he's doing something over here, but he keeps your focus over here. The scapegoat is the focus, or the sleight of hand. He goes over here and does his magic stuff, and the magician wants you to look over this direction. So the scapegoat is that distraction. Most dysfunctional families have a scapegoat and need a scapegoat to maintain the status quo of the family, to maintain the balance, to maintain the homeostasis, the equanimity, the equilibrium of the family and within the family. If you have the scapegoat, then it keeps everybody else's dysfunctional role in place, and they don't have to deal with the real problems. If you understand how and why scapegoating works, and you can then inform yourself as to how to resist this role and what you can do to resist it and oppose it in a self-differentiated way, not in a reactive anti-scapegoat way. Because again, when I say anti, you have 0 and then 180 degrees over here. If 0 is sick, then 180 degree anti that is also sick. So we want to learn to live out of that scapegoat role at the 90-degree mark. Neither being it nor totally opposing it in a reactive way. We want to get to the 90-degree mark. This video is about what you can do and how you can view your role as a scapegoat. These helps are things we can do short of going no contact, and unfortunately some people must go no contact because of the difficulties they have with their family and how toxic or damaging their family can be. So some do go no contact. There are many who stay in contact with their family, and these are steps and things you can take a look at short of going no contact. And I explain about going no contact and how you make that decision in other videos. You might check those out. Let me talk about the word supply. In the narcissistic abuse world, supply, or for the narcissism, supply is used, meaning we end up being supply for someone who has a personality disorder. We are their supply. We provide them with their admiration and our never-ending understanding and our love and all those things. We provide that supply for them, and they just gobble it up while gobbling us up at the same time. And so supply is a good way to think about being a scapegoat, because as a scapegoat, we provide supply for this dysfunctional family as well. And I want to share with you how supply plays into the families whom have different roles: golden child, mascot, lost child, scapegoat, enabler. There are all kinds of family roles. I'm talking about scapegoating in this video, and we'll see how we provide supply as a scapegoat. Supply are all of the ways we provide dysfunctional, emotional relationship fuel for the dysfunctional family or person in our life who scapegoats us. We we the yearning for things to be right and things to be good. We provide the enmeshment and the fusion. We participate in that enmeshment or fusion. We may provide being a whipping boy for the relationship or for the family. We may provide the deflection and away from the root problems. We provide that supply of being a deflection for that and a focus away from the real problems. And we do that by our giving, our fixing, our caretaking, our never-ending understanding, as I had mentioned, our love, our giving, and even our reactivity. Because reactivity is supply for this family as well, if you're a scapegoat. Because one of the ways to stay a scapegoat is keep being reactive. That continues to solidify that role in the system. And we want to deprive the family of this emotional and relational supply. And how do we do that? By becoming more aware of and resisting these forms of supply. Can we change their unconscious? Can we change their conscious thoughts about us? Maybe, many times not. But we can affect the system by withdrawing the supply that it needs to keep this lie and this toxic relationship going, such as keeping us as a scapegoat. The first is what I call reactive supply or reactivity supply. Being reactive only keeps us in a form of pursuit of the relationship and keeps us in our role. Do you know that every time you're reactive, it's a pursuit of this unhealthy dynamic in the relationship? I don't want to be reactive in that way. I want to remain more calm, so I'm not pursuing or fusing with this relationship through my reactivity. Reactivity serves keeping the role in place. Mother calls to complain, "You don't ever come over as much as you should." Again, a shaming statement. Should, ought, those kinds of statements are generally shaming statements. Stay calm, resist reactivity, and state, "I come over, Mom, just the right amount of times, but I appreciate you inviting me." Now I'm depriving this relationship of that scapegoat role because I'm being myself. I'm being an adult. And so I'm not feeding it with reactivity, and we'll see other things as well that we feed that. There are other ways in which our reactivity feeds this role of scapegoating. Our shame reaction, which we want to work on, our abandonment reaction, our fear reactions, our guilt reactions and reactivity. Many times when we re-feel those feelings time and time again in the relationship system, we are just reinforcing this role of scapegoat. And we fuel the fire, and we fuel and provide the supply for this unhealthy role. That's why I try to help people to overcome their shame responses, shame reactivity, guilt reactivity, because all of those are a lie. There's not real shame involved. There's not real guilt involved. This is familial guilt. This is family guilt. And in one video, I talk about a number of different types of guilt, for example, such as societal guilt, maybe true spiritual guilt, false guilt or systems guilt. There's healthy guilt. Sometimes when we do something wrong, there's an appropriate way in which we feel guilty. But many times in dysfunctional families, guilt is felt, but it's not based on doing anything bad. It's based on something the family just didn't like. That's not doing anything bad. Being yourself is not being bad. But in a dysfunctional family, you should feel guilty about that because you're not playing your role. Second of all, systems feeling supply is another supply we supply to this role. When the family shames us, guilts us, demeans us, ignores us, or shoulds us, we then feel ashamed and guilty and lonely and hurt and sad. These are all systems feelings. They're false feelings. They're feelings created by the system so that you will continue to play your same role. You may not actually have done anything that you should feel guilt for. You may not have done anything to feel ashamed for, but yet we still feel the shame. That's why it's false shame. It's not real shame. It's shame that is offered to us and we accept it. And really, there's no need for us to feel shamed. When a parent or a sister or brother tells you, well, you've just never loved me like you should have. I don't know why you didn't accept me and care about me. That's supposed to make me feel guilty or ashamed. I don't have to feel guilty or ashamed. And in fact, I remember even talking about how I'd say, well, our relationship has always been troubled. It's been troubled from the beginning. So we all did things to make this relationship not work. It wasn't just me. And again, they want you to think it's just you. No one else provides any dynamics to this relationship. It's just your fault. These feelings feed the family supply needs. If we deprive them of these feelings, then we tend to stabilize ourselves as a real self and be self-differentiated. Recognize and resolve and heal these feelings so they don't keep getting re-triggered in a false way in your relationships with family or other adults. Stop accepting shame as real shame. Stop accepting systems guilt or guilt as real guilt. Stop accepting systems hurt as real hurt. Again, if somebody's saying something to hurt me, I think they're calling me a Coca-Cola, and it doesn't feel hurtful because it doesn't have to hurt. It's just their problem and their way of thinking. It's not the real me that they're talking about. And stop accepting rejection as real rejection. Many times people will feel rejected by family members or family who's never loved them. And so I'm going, why do you feel rejected? You've never been accepted. I mean, why wouldn't you expect to be rejected? I mean, why would that hurt you so badly? They've always done that. That's always been their mode. And that's how I've worked on my own pain and struggles as a good recovering codependent. Number 3 is role supply. Just the role of being a scapegoat provides supply to the family. Acting like a scapegoat, doing scapegoat behaviors, getting in trouble, limiting your success, keeping your self-esteem low, acting immaturely, complaining about the role that you are as a scapegoat, blaming others for the role as a scapegoat. We move into victim behavior and playing the victim. We might overfunction or we might underfunction. And we want to be self versus scapegoat or anti-scapegoat. We don't want to be scapegoat or anti-scapegoat. We want to be ourselves. And that's what I help clients to do and those who work with me. We want to detach from the family and detach from that role. And we may even need to first become confused. That may be a healthy step. Instead of being mad, hurt, angry, it's good to move into confusion. Why are they upset with me for what I did? I haven't done anything. So I'm really confused. Rather than taking it on as one more time, they're causing me this horrible problem and are scapegoating me. No, I'm just confused as to why they are acting so crazy, or some say psychotic. And why are they doing this? Confusion is better than the anger and the hurt. And it's okay to be confused about family members. Fourthly, deprive them of the dream fantasy supply. One of the things that keeps us as scapegoats and our never-ending understanding, patience, hope, long-suffering, is that we are living the fantasy they will someday accept us, love us, hear us, and understand us. We are our dream and their dream fantasy as a supply. And so we just keep yearning for that, which keeps us connected. But it adds supply to the role of the scapegoat. Once we get to a place where we can start to accept that, I don't need them. I'd like to have a family that loves me and I love them, but I don't need them to exist as an adult. And I do accept that, they're never going to change. Most families don't. A few do, but many families don't. Can I be happy even if they don't? And if you say, no, I can't be happy even if they don't, then we're still caught in the dream fantasy supply that we supply to them and supply to these roles in the family. Fifthly, the secrets supply. That supplies a lot for this toxic family and when there's scapegoating going on. And if we can deprive them of the secrets supply, we are the keepers of the family and relationship system secrets. And they keep us locked in because we keep those secrets. And we've probably spoken up before about these secrets and really gotten shut down. And the family goes crazy, don't want to talk about it, don't want to deal with it. Or don't accept it or are still in denial, such as dad's alcoholism, mom's neglect, brother's abuse, all of those things that happened when we were growing up, and none of those happened in the family because they're all in denial. So many times we lift the skirt or the secret truth tellers in the family, and then you'll get pigeonholed into being a scapegoat. When we keep these secrets, we then align with the dysfunctional family. Now, I don't mean by that we go around dropping bombs, emotional and communication bombs everywhere we are. We walk into grandma's house and go, by the way, I just want to tell you, Dad was an alcoholic. No, we don't do that. But what we do is accept our reality and accept what we know. And so when we say, Dad wasn't always the best dad in all the world. And then the sister or brother says, well, Dad was a great dad. They're in denial and they have to deify Dad because that's their role. Dad was a great dad. And then we can say, yeah, there were times he was. He also was an alcoholic. Matter of fact, saying it calmly, not trying to make everybody believe what you're saying. It's just, this is my perspective and I don't have to back down from that. Mom did many good things for us, but she was neglectful. And that's a matter-of-fact way. It takes the energy out of the supply. It takes that supply away from the family. And when you choose to talk about it, be sure to stay calm and matter-of-fact, and not trying to change the other person's perspective. And again, if I say, well, yeah, there were times Dad was a great dad, but he was an alcoholic. I'm stating that as a matter of fact, not trying to get you to make you believe that or come over to my side. I'm just stating this is how I saw our family. And sixthly, there is information supply. We want to deprive them of the information that we have, because information is very important for keeping roles functioning. Golden child, mascot, scapegoat. Information is very important for those triangulations that the families do. Be less vulnerable. Offer fewer details and information about your life in a calm way. Because otherwise we become the family gossip focus, which we can't control. I understand that, but I don't have to provide all the juicy details for them. And that could be your jobs, your salary, your car purchases, voting preferences, religious views, relationship details, kids' lives. You don't have to provide all that information, or how you and your husband or you and your wife are doing, and just put that into the family gossip mill. If ever someone asks me and I want to provide less information, then I shift it back onto them. Say mom is talking to Mary and says, well, how is Bill doing with the kids these days? Bill's Mary's husband. Mary would say, if she's been the scapegoat, just fine. How are you and Dad doing? And put the focus right back on them rather than having it on you. And you can continue to do that in a broken record way. Yeah, but I want to know, is he still really angry with the kids? Is he still disciplining them the way he does? Mom, everything is fine. And I was hoping we could go out for coffee today. And we just shift the focus away from all the information they want to hear about us. These perspectives and responses change your functioning in the system. I have other supplies, such as triangulation supply. There are other types of supply that we provide in dysfunctional families, and I'll be sharing those in other videos. Now, if we change our perspective and responses, as I have described, this may result in greater resistance from the family. Over time, greater acceptance and role shift may happen. And so there may be an improvement in the family if we change ourselves, but it may start out with greater resistance. Hopefully, it is a hope that if we continue to provide the contagion of calm, that can help the family settle down. Because if you're in connection with the family and you remain calm, it does have some contagious dynamics to it. If there is no improvement in the family, and you do all of these things today that I'd mentioned, if it doesn't work, you still win. Because they weren't going to change anyway, you're at least still working on yourself and what you're providing for others and doing for others. Remember, the scapegoat role may be hopeless, but it's not serious. That's one of my favorite quotes that I have heard. The situation is hopeless, but not serious. And it's not serious because we don't have to keep it alive in us. They may still want to see us as a scapegoat, but we don't have to keep that role inside alive for us. I hope you'll join the membership today on YouTube. Click join, click subscribe, click the bell if you want to get videos, each new video that comes out. You can make donations at my website at www.jerrywiserelationshipsystems.com if you want to continue to receive these free videos. I hope you have a great day. and be wise.